Well, 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 we're back here again talking more about the Ogryn rework because there has been more changes, more reworks done. I think generally these are very positive, and I would like to give kudos to Fatshark for actually doing what they said they were going to do. And the reason they said they were releasing all this so early was so that players could have a chance to interact with it and give their feedback. And I thought that was like a load of malarkey. I was like, guys, they're just blowing smoke. There's no way they'll make changes, because usually when they post something and say like, hey, give us your feedback, that's what's going to be delivered, right? So this time around, though, they did make changes based on community feedback, and I just want to say, hey, little golf clap for you, Fatshark. Good job. Keep this up. Please keep interacting with the community and getting this feedback, because clearly it's steering the classes in a better direction. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. I don't think there's anywhere this is really comprehensively compiled, not like an official post anyway. So there are 5 total changes, I think, that I've been able to find. If you see something that I'm missing, please let me know in the comments. I will pin your comments and you'll be glorified forever on my channel. The first thing is steady grip up here. Steady grip is not being changed numerically. It's just a change to the little writing here. It used to say 5%, now it says 12.5% toughness regen per second while bracing your ranged weapon. That was just a mistake. The text said 5% before. I know this because I got into a spirited debate with a viewer who said this is definitely way better than 5%. It seems like it's taking about 8 seconds to fill up instead of the 20 that you're saying that it is. And I was like, oh shit, yeah, you're right. I went and timed it frame by frame, put it into DaVinci and timed it out, and it is exactly 12.5%. So it's always been this way. It's just had the wrong tooltip. All right, scrolling down here, the next big change is Loyal Protector. Loyal Protector is probably the single biggest change in this whole tree. Loyal Protector used to taunt one time. Everything within 12 meters would be taunted to you for 15 seconds. And then this little buff right here, No Pain, would give you 10 seconds of regeneration for your toughness based on how many enemies were within the radius. So you could get up to 20 enemies in the radius, and that would give you 10% plus a base 10%. So you would get, over the course of 10 seconds, 200% of your toughness back. Pretty cool, right? So now what it does is when you taunt, it obviously does the taunt, and then in 3 seconds later, it taunts again. And what's going on is that No Pain is calculating a new replenishment number after those 3 seconds. So I think this is actually kind of a big nerf, this change to No Pain. One, because it's only going to be giving you this buff for 3 seconds instead of 3.33 seconds, so you're just losing a full second off of there flat. Your maximum regeneration is 180% versus the 200% it was before. And the second thing here is that since you might not have those enemies around. If they all get killed before you were regenerating that whole last time, if they get killed after those first 3 seconds and there's not enough enemies in it, your replenishment's going to go down if it calculates it. It could go up, but I think in most cases when you get enemies, there's going to be less present after the first 3 seconds, if you're killing them anyway. The second thing I want to talk about this is, this is a good change, honestly. This is shoring up a problem that Loyal Protector had, where you would taunt everything around you, and then there would be like a couple more enemies would come in and they would go straight for your allies, and you have no way of taunting them because your taunt's on a 45-second cooldown. So now you can move a little bit. You could like walk backwards and grab the stuff that's pulling up on the back line. You could walk forwards and grab the stuff that's coming in. It's going to be very nice, I think, in Havoc, because in Havoc, the enemy waves that come in come from right behind you and right in front of you very quickly after the horde is announced. And so this will be great. You could like taunt, then walk forward and grab the stuff up there, walk backwards and grab some more stuff that came in the back, and pull it all away from your team. So I like this change. I don't love this change, but I understood they have to balance this a little bit. But I think this should have been left with where it was, and maybe only it could upgrade the amount of replenishment you get if there's more enemies after the first pulse. Oh, the second thing I should say about this, or the last thing I should say about this, is the pulses, the second pulses and the third pulses, it doesn't give you the little stagger knockback. So like normally you can stagger trappers and dogs who are about to do their thing when you shout or when you use your taunt, and it like does a soft interrupt on many enemies. That does not happen on the repeats. So that kind of sucks. Oh well. This is a really nice big change. Bonebreaker's aura used to be 10% heavy melee attack damage. Now, since the focus of the Ogryn is no longer supposed to be on heavy melee attacks, but generally melee attacks instead, it's just all melee attack damage, which means this is like an A tier aura. Like everybody's using melee, you especially as the Ogryn. Just 10% more melee damage is pretty fucking good. So I love this change. This definitely fits more with the spirit of the design that they were going for. All right, and there's another one hidden over here that people often overlook. Concentrate. This was 0.75 stamina per second before. It took me a while to see this. I had to rewatch my own video. But this is now a 0.5 stamina per second. I don't really love this talent in the first place. Maybe it'll be find its place somehow. But yeah, this is definitely, it's a small buff, but like I don't think this talent is really all that good in the first place. But we do have a really good talent down here, Bruiser, that got a sizable buff, not in terms of its content, but in terms of its placement. Before, well, you know, with the first edition of the rework, Bruiser was placed here, where no hurting friends is, right above this keystone. So if you wanted to dip for Bruiser, you were dipping at least 2 points, and you know, if you wanted weapon spot speed, that's great, but most players probably don't. They just want to dip that 1 point for Bruiser. And since Bruiser got a bit of a nerf kinda for this last rework update, it should only be that 1 point dip, honestly. This is going to be an auto include in every build for that 1 point dip, plus that 25 toughness is no joke. Like this combination of two nodes right there, perfect. And then finally, the final tweak is over here, we had, this was 25% critical strike damage before on Lucky Streak, and now it's 50% critical strike damage. Now, there's no other sources of critical strike damage in the game that I could find. Yeah, except for maybe something on like the Psyker's Scryer's Gaze, or not Scryer's Gaze, Disrupt Destiny. So isolating this to test it is a little bit difficult, but this is definitely a buff, right? The problem is that critical strike damage is scaled to the weapon, and so if weapons are worse at getting a damage increase out of critical strikes, they're not going to get as much out of this. Sure, it'll give you more, but it might not be as much as you were hoping. For instance, if you gave this buff to, like, I don't know, anyone who has access to the dueling sword, it would be fucking insane, because the dueling sword gets like 2.5 times damage on a critical strike, and so this would boost it to 3.25 times. Like, it would be nuts. Or sorry, 3.75 times. So this is going to be a nice buff to have for Ogryn. It remains to be seen if it hits any good breakpoints for certain weapons, if you do want to spec down here for crits. I mean, it seems like they're leaning more into crits with this tree anyway, so perhaps there will be some weapons, the heavy stubbers, the new sniper heavy stubbers, and the kickback that have surgical on them, where you can guarantee a crit, and that'll be really nice for this, because you want that crit, and you want that crit to do more damage. So anyway, that is everything that has been changed for this. Maybe there'll be some more in the next day or so before it changes, but I really like this. I like that they are continuing to tweak, and it gives me hope that they will continue to tweak little things about classes within the year. Alright guys, thanks for watching, have a good one, and Mr. out. Bye.